Okay, now you can hear me. This is good. And now, please welcome to the show live here on YouTube.com. My guest this evening is a fantastic singer slash songwriter, joining me from all the way from Washington State on the west coast of the US, Al Perez. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, no,
Invited me on. I
it's a pleasure.
appreciate it.
It's a pleasure to be on the show, and you are a wonderful blues musician. You've been over here. You've experienced the UK.
I love the UK. Honestly, like I said, we were just chit chatting. I loved it there. I'm sorry I hadn't come sooner. When I was over the years, it's just again where I live. Our weather is so similar. I tend to travel where it's sunny. But I loved it there. I'm definitely coming back to the UK and I had a great time. Great music scene. You guys have one of my favorite music scenes I've been to in a long time. I was so enjoyed being there. The venues were great. Other musicians I met were awesome. Other studio owners. It was just a good time. I had a great time. I had a great experience.
Good, good. I'm glad you had a great experience as well. This is the main thing. If you didn't have that, then no point coming back over here. But I know you were here in January
I
to kick
was.
to kick off 2023. And how did that all come together?
Well, my label, they put it together, thank goodness. We have some representation over there, but my label, Warrior Records, they have an affiliate over there. They put it together and got me on tour with a 20 Below Zero established band over there, and I'd never been over and toured, so it was just great doing a bunch of opening slots and some of my own shows there, and it was all my labels doing, and I talked and expressed that I wanted to come there. The music seems to do well there, and it trends well there. As we watch all the numbers and the stuff on different social medias and whatnot. And so it was just nice to come there and play music. I'm telling you, you guys have the best audiences, and I'm not saying that because you're there. I'm telling you the truth. There's a cool scene still happening over there for music and musicians, especially people who are writing new material. Great vibe. I'm telling you, I had the best time. I plan on coming back, and I've even I guess I was talking to you about maybe coming in and actually spending a month or two around the UK and traveling around, and as I play shows and have some time, so just to kind of get out more
Yeah.
around town and see what's going on because I got out to a lot of different areas and it was beautiful country, cool people, great food. You guys, I heard all this stuff about you guys don't eat, and I'm like, I don't know. Everywhere I went, I had experienced really great food.
Well,
Americans think there isn't great food. I'm like, you guys are wrong. You guys don't know where you're going to eat. I ate great food the whole time I was there. You know.
good, good. I'm glad you have great food, because I'm going to say to you, I don't know who the people you've been speaking to,
I
but
don't know either. I always
they were
heard
giving
that
me
you
one
guys have like
information.
small meals and things are kind of plain. I mean, these are kind of we all have stigmas. I'm sure there's
Yeah,
stigmas about Americans and
yeah.
and how we eat or we're gluttony and we have too much food and all this stuff. And I mean, it's probably the opposite. But I said, okay, well, I guess I'll see what's going. But you know what? There was multicultural food there. I actually had some of the best Italian food in London. It's crazy. I went to two different old established restaurants that were just wonderful. And but I had everything. I had traditional things. I had different cultures of food. Played. It was cool. Great place to. Great hub of everything: culture, food, fashion. Lots of good things going on down there.
Good to hear. Good to hear. And as you mentioned a moment ago about there might be how you say Americans perceive us as having smaller food or plain food. I think it's more about the proportion, because I know in America you guys have big proportions of everything.
Absolutely.
If we
That,
want a small thingy, it'd probably be medium size,
mhm.
proportion. Well, over here,
Right.
if you ask for a small proportion, you would get a small proportion, and vice.
Absolutely.
And
It's very different that way.
yeah, exactly. And 'cause I know you things do a lot. You I know Americans do a lot of things bigger and better, don't they, as well?
Well, it's just different. I like all kinds of food. I'm a foodie, although I have lost 60 pounds in the last couple of years. Because I'm not trying to be, you know, the big guy.
No. Sorry, you know, I wasn't gonna. I'm not mentioning that or thinking you're quite huge before you said that anyway, because you know, was that a goal of yours to do to lose some weight?
You know what? I just made some decisions to kind of live a healthier lifestyle in a lot of different ways. Whether it's eating healthier, adding some exercise, and of course, uh, moderating the drinking. We all like to have a cocktail now and those things. And there were some things I just decided at this point in my life. Um, my faith, that's a big deal for me too. To just make some decisions to have to be more conscious of having a quality life.
Yeah.
And that meant, trimming down 60 pounds. That meant being a little more spiritual connection. That meant just being a healthier person. And because I didn't consider a lot of that, especially when I was probably your age, or, I like to get after it.
Yeah.
I like that. I like to eat. I like to drink. I like to have fun. And as the years come on, you realize, you know what?
Gosh.
I need to kind of cool it down and kind of take care of myself. And as a vocalist,
Yeah.
getting to the music part of it, my voice is better for it. I used to like cigarettes and whiskey and a lot of things that I just cut out of my life because
Yeah.
I was like, it's just time to clean it up.
Hmm.
It starts to take a toll. And I'll tell you, some of the famous artists that I won't mention their names who didn't hold up well vocally because of lifestyle. They're not singing poorly because they got older. They're singing poorly because of this lifestyle they live still.
Wise. Fair enough. Yeah.
You don't get a break 40, 50 years old and still be a 20-year-old rock star and think that your voice is not going to suffer for it. As a vocalist, I can tell you, um, taking out whiskey and cigarettes, I'm telling you, for over 2 years now, has made a big difference. Where my voice is stronger and more dynamic. I feel better, and so it was for a lot of things. It was for health, and it was for my career as well. That I could be a better performance. And it scared me when I started to see some of my idols, some of the
Yeah.
old artists, not have what they used to have as a vocalist, especially as I consider myself a very big vocalist. I have the
Mm.
big boy voice. I can lay it down. I can shake a room. And I didn't want to have that. And again, I won't point fingers at any famous artists who I know now they don't sound good.
Yeah. No.
They didn't. It's lifestyle. I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. The old school guys toured 365 days. They did 300 shows a year. So
Mm.
they were getting their asses kicked, handed to them, performing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and so it takes a toll on it, all of it, on your body, on your voice, and I just decided that I was going to approach it different, approach my music career different, approach my lifestyle different, and I'm a better man for it. I feel
Good.
better, and the record's proven to do well, and it sounds great, and so I think it was a good plan. It's like having a
Yeah.
business plan. I have a plan, I have an idea, and I'm gonna execute it, and it's been fun.
I like that. I like that. And we'll get on to your latest sound in a few minutes time. But on that subject, you mentioned about lifestyle choices. You mentioned about the older walkers of the day. As you say, 300 odd days on back to back to back shows, and
Oh
it does
yeah.
tear them up. It does tear them up, and it does do a lot of harm because they've got nothing else to do because they're going from one town to the next, and it's hard to juggle it all up, isn't it? And to have some fun in between because it can get quite
It,
boring, can't it? Going from one town to the next.
yeah, I and it's funny. I come from an era that we idolized that lifestyle so much that we emulated it. We wanted to live that wild lifestyle in every kind of way. As they say, sex, drugs, and rock and roll kind of a lifestyle. And you know, as we get a little older, I'm a couple years older than you, and it changes. If you want to have the longevity to have a long career
Hmm.
in music and as a vocalist, you're either going to adjust and cool your roll a little bit, not quite be so, can't act like you're 21 forever. I enjoyed it. I get it. I like rock and roll, if you will, and living a little on the edge. But my music is important to me, and the more serious I take it, I think the better it conveys to an audience,
Yeah.
because the days of guys being drunk and falling down on stage are gone. You don't see that often anymore. Where I remember going to shows, concerts, and seeing some of my favorite artists. Again, I won't name and point fingers at anyone, but I've seen plenty of concerts where the artist was pretty loaded, and it wasn't a good show. And but but you kind of thought it was still fun to be there. And but as an artist, I realized some of my favorite shows were great shows with great musicianship and great performances, and you walked away in just awe of them and wanting to be that level of an artist. And so
Mm.
that's kind of how I treat myself now, and
Good.
treat my music career, is to take it more serious and professional, that I can be better to me, so I can write better music and perform, and give a more interesting performance in my shows,
Well,
for sure.
not does that, but you want to go out there every single night and give 110%
Oh, absolutely.
every
And I
single
love
day.
performing. Don't get me wrong. I love writing. Writing is its own little artistic thing that we do, as singer songwriters. But getting out in front of the audience and seeing how it conveys to them and
Yeah.
how they receive it. I like medium small venues, to this day, because I like being able to interact. I like to be able to see their faces, and then maybe even walk out and say hello, and talk to audience and see. And when they tell me what they've heard, like maybe I'll break a new song out and they can repeat a lyric or tell me the name of the tune. I know that maybe I've done my job,
Yeah. Yeah.
that I've shared something with them that they can relate to or connect with.
Mm,
So
most
that's always
definitely.
nice.
Most definitely, and as well, and some of the songs you have done, with your fan base as well, will probably have a special part of their heart as well, which you've touched for them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we hope to write that big hit, but it doesn't mean I'm sure no real artist or writer ever thought about that when they were writing. They were thinking about what they were writing about.
Yeah.
It's like writing anything. You're writing the word to paper, and the idea and the feelings are true. I would imagine there are people that can do it more intentional, but I think the real artists that we envy or like out there, I mean, we could go through a list of whoever your preferred artists are and mine are, but I'll bet you dollars to donuts that they have a love for the writing part of it, and that's why we get it.
Yeah, no,
you know.
absolutely, absolutely agree with you. And as I mentioned as well, again, this is not my usual software I did a show on, so there is some buttons I wasn't sure about. So you may have seen I did press some different scenes. That I was testing to see if my theme tune was on there for the ending of the
Okay.
video.
I
I
have
don't,
I haven't seen you at all. All I see
I
is
just
your
want to
name.
mention that. I just want to mention I don't do who's watching this. Like, oh, you just went to this outro and then you come back on. That's because I was just making sure it was on there for when I end the show, so I wasn't interrupting anybody. Um, by the way, I want to give a shout out to the band you performed with while you're over here in the UK. It was because with Nine Below Zero.
Yeah.
Were they a fantastic band to
You know
collab
what?
with?
Those Diamonds are what a bunch of cool guys. I'll be honest with you. I did not know their music prior to going there. I wish you could see around my studio.
I
They've given
can.
me
I can
there's
see it behind you anyway.
over that way. There's some their vinyl is actually hanging on my wall,
Oh,
and a
cool.
tour poster from the UK, that they get given me,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
some things they signed for me, because you know what, they were a great band, and they were just some cool guys to hang out with, and there were
Yeah.
some younger members, there were some older members, there was, of course, the original member, and then of course I think his son was in the band playing drums, and there was some. Charlie was a great the guy that was playing acoustic, and there were just some cool people, and they were very hospitable, and it was, what, they were gracious enough to let me open a bunch of shows for them, and they have a great audience, and their audience there, because it was their audience on some of the shows that I was opening for them, and their audience were real responsive to my stuff, and the band, they were cool. We all BS and took pictures and all, and traded CDs and all the things and T-shirts and all that stuff, and just good guys, just experience great songwriters, great musicians, and I'm not saying that because I was there with them. I'm saying it because it's true. My one of my producers of the album that worked on my album was with me on the tour, and he absolutely fell in love with their music. And so they built some big fans. Some of my people that came with me are absolute super fans of their music now. And again, and in my studio, because it was a very memorable trip for me, first time in the UK. That band allowing me to, being gracious enough to let me do some opening spots for them. I hit it off, and it's a big memory for me. And you can't, I can't move everything around. But
No,
over on the
no.
other side of my studio is a tour poster and an album and a vinyl from that tour with those
Awesome.
guys. Very, very cool guys, man. A lot of fun. Dennis was a good guy.
Good to hear, and I'm glad as well that you got a good response from their fan base as well. It means you're playing a lot of new fans as well.
Oh
A
yeah.
part of the UK tour, which is great to see, and hopefully we get to see you all reunite maybe next year as well. Maybe come here on a yearly thing.
I would love to do it. You know what? I would be right on it. If they asked me, I would come. We yeah, I have a lot of new music since that tour. There's lots of new music that we've recorded
Yeah,
and new stuff that we're playing. We're, I'm a writer, so we jump the gun and we want to start performing the new music before it's even out on records. And so yes, there's. I would love to come back, and I'd love to bring some of the new music. And yeah, it would be. I loved it over there, and I'm not saying that because I'm on with you. I'm saying I really enjoyed myself, and I really look forward to coming back, both playing music and just as a visitor, a
yeah,
tourist.
yeah. No,
Come see
absolutely.
some more of the sites.
Yeah, well, I want to know as well. Like, where did you go in the UK when you came over? Do you remember the towns or
So we
cities
were
you went to?
let's see. I'm trying to. Well, of course, we went to Buckingham Palace,
Oh
and we did.
yes.
We hired it. I'm going to tell you honestly. I'm going to be a complete American tourist. I said I don't know nothing about anything here. Let's just hire a tour guide. I said so the whole band, all the whole crew, and people who were with us. All of us said. I said I know it's dorky, but let's just hire a tour guide because let's see all the obvious things. I don't know. I don't know where anything is, and I want to see all. I want to take my dumb picture at the castle
Oh
at
yeah.
Buckingham Palace, and I need to take a. I need to be in a red phone booth. I had to do all the touristy things. I had to go see John Lennon's play. To be where the
Did you
Beatles were and all the things.
did you go to Abbey Road as well?
We went to Abbey Road. I have a picture of me. I did all the terrible tourist things. We crammed it into. We had one free day,
Oh wow.
and we crammed. We hired this guy. We hired him from dusk till dawn,
Oh
so
wow.
early to late, and he was. London tours. I got a shout out for him, and he was such a cool guy, man. He just hung out with us, ate with us,
Oh, that's
took us everywhere,
awesome.
took us to pubs, and it was above and beyond. London tours is the. I'm saying it again. Those are the guys to call. They were so he was so nice and generous and hung out and just I think we spent 10 or 12 hours with them. I mean, we tried to look at everything we could, go to the city, go to the shopping areas, go to old historical pubs, go to the castles, go to all of it, Abbey Road. I mean, you name it. We tried to cram every piece of it into our trip, and it was great. So yes, I have all the pictures. And my joke about that a little bit now is that when I come back next time, I
Yeah.
don't need to do that again.
Well, you
There's some
can.
things that
Well, you can in a different city because I'm hoping that you get to come up north and come to Manchester.
I want to come to Manchester. I'm in. If I come up, you know what? Everyone that interviewed me prior to the tour last time,
Yeah.
I ended up meeting and visiting and probably having lunch or dinner with them because I said, "Hey, when I get there, I really will," because I'm that kind of guy. I'm like, I'll show up. Let's
Yeah.
have. I don't drink anymore, but
No,
I'll
no.
come to the pub with you. I'll buy you a beer. I'll buy you a pint. And
I like that.
I absolutely would come to Manchester, and there's so
Good.
many more things I would come to do. And again, there was nobody I met or any experience I could tell you that I have nothing. And this again is not because I have to say it. It's true. I enjoyed it so much that I want to come back, and
Good.
even considered living there for a month or two at a time.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it was a great experience. That's all I can tell you. It was great.
Yeah.
And
No.
musicians, I met some fine musicians,
Oh yeah.
and I was able to go. over to one of the studios, one of the only studios in downtown London. And I don't think I can really say the name of it because it's kind of a private studio. But it was awesome. It was I had the best experience. I'm telling you, it's a lifetime experience.
Yeah.
I can come again. I can do other cool things again. But that first time to have such a great over the top, experience and everything you did from the music to the people to the food to it was just one of those. You ever been on a great vacation or a great trip and you go like, I'm gonna remember that forever. It was one of those experiences. It really was.
Glad to hear. I'm glad you had a wonderful time in our great, great capital city in good old Cockney, London. And we look forward to seeing you back in London and hopefully beyond the next time you're here. I want to know.
Absolutely.
I would love to know. By the way, as we can see behind you, you've got some great vinyls on your wall behind you and great records. What do those four mean to you? I would love to know that.
These particular ones that I have bunched together. I've recorded lots of recordings over the years. I've been playing a long time, maybe longer than you've been alive, a few years.
well,
Um,
you don't look your
and
age anyway. I have to say that. I have to admit that
that's
because
because I'm a Mexican American and I make this look good. That's why. I'm messing with you. These records were the things that are kind of very particular in this little space. There's an amp and some guitars and things that are right behind me. You probably can't see everything, but this is just a little piece of my little studio. These records, it kind of signifies the beginning of the first real record I did to. And I recently kind of put them all together, these particular ones together, because to the one that I go like, that's my most current, and that's where it started. And this body of material, I was just a big time. And there's a little tiny CD up top you can't see. There's a beautiful
yep.
girl. I won't say her name, but she
Okay.
was a Playboy model, and she was on Sony Playboy. And I wrote a couple
Wow.
songs for this album that are super ridiculously over the top, super. I don't know what I want to call it. Uh, Very sexy music, really not my genre, but I always say that I can write anything, and I got called out for that. And so I ended up writing a song. I'll tell you the name of one of the titles off the album I wrote for her. There was a song on it called "Me Into You," which was a very sexually explicit song. And when I listen to it now, fast forward a lot of years,
Yeah, yeah,
I kind of laugh at it. I go like, "Huh, okay, I was going there." As the artist and as a writer, I'm like, I was kind of challenged to write something for this album, and it's funny. So yeah, so all this stuff right here, and there's a very little picture you can't see in the shot that I'm in, but it's my brother and I. Music for me is generational with my family. My grandfather played trumpet, and my brother and I played guitar together. My aunt and uncle had a small band that influenced me to play music. But there's a picture of my brother and I at 16 teenagers
yeah.
playing in a house party, and this little black and white picture over there. I look at that picture and I think, wow, that's where it all kind of came from. It all started with that want and desire to be part of music, to create and he came with me to London, and it was that was a big part of it too. That my brother and I stood there together in the UK, and the journey started when we were young. I grew up in LA originally, in Long Beach, California, and so these two American, Mexican, Latino kids dreaming of being rock stars to go fast forward a lot of years and to be standing in the UK and playing original music and stuff that I've written and created, and for him to be there with me was almost emotional. It was a big, like, you did it.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets to be a famous rock star. Not
No,
everybody is
no.
Rod Stewart or Elton John or so on and so forth. Not, but there are plenty of artists that apply themselves that seriously, like myself. I take it to the next level. I want to do it great. Doesn't mean everybody gets to be famous, but you certainly can do it at a professional level. And to share that with my brother has always been a big part of music for me. And so yeah, so this is a musical journey. This little piece is a history for myself. There's lots of other memorabilia and
Of
stuff hanging
course.
around, but this little particular wall, when I walk by it and go like, yeah, I can measure up my life with that stuff. This is a good body of work that I've written all these songs, and
Good.
yeah, it's been a great life writing and creating and performing music. So a lot of
Good,
fun.
good, exactly. And I hope it continues for many, many more years to come. Because even though at the beginning of that you were saying you're quite older, but we can't tell that. So hopefully you got another
Well,
50
good.
years in you to carry on.
Well, I hope so. I'd like to think so. There's definitely lots more music, and I've been writing a lot of new stuff. We have
Yes.
the current album out that's to pitch the tell say the album, Love Revolution, which is my current album,
Yeah, we're gonna get onto
and,
that.
and the
Yeah.
new and the new single that's out, Believe. Um, Great song, one of my favorite songs. It's a new single that's been pushed. I always thought it should have been the first single pushed because it was one of my personal favorites.
Okay.
And but it's a take a listen. It's out on Spotify and all the different
Where,
platforms.
wherever you get your music, you can
Whatever
find it
wherever
on.
you get your music, it's out there. You can find them on all of them. I don't promote particular anyone because they all do their job.
Yeah.
But Believe is a good song, and it's a single that's out right now. There's a new music video coming out for it that'll be out probably in about a week, and lots of new stuff. So much new music. It's funny. We get as an artist, we wonder, do I have any more songs left in me?
Yeah.
And
How do you keep reinventing yourself as well? Like bringing out all these different songs over, to keep yourself, what's the word? In with the times.
well, I'll
Reinventing
tell you what.
yourself.
I'm not a pop artist, so in the sense that I'm trying to be current. I'm not Dua or Taylor Swift or I'm not that kind of artist or one of those type of people. And I'm not a country artist. And there's all these different. I don't think of music as a genre for myself.
Hmm.
I mean, I realize there are genres of music,
Oh yeah, of course.
and I don't think of content in the sense that. I'm trying to be current.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to be is honest. If I had people, I've been asked that question. Hey, how do you stay current? It's not current. I think if I try that hard, I'll probably fail.
No.
I'm not
No.
that cool, you know. But what I can do, excuse me, is be honest, and finding different things. If you dig into your own self and you realize that everybody is going through different things at every point of our life. You are, I am, today, tomorrow, a year, 5 years, and I have ability to kind of to see which particular things I like a little. I always say it the same. I like a little snapshot or a little Polaroid picture, and the little picture comes out, and I go, I want to write about that. I want to
Mm.
set that over there, and then so I'll get the ideas, and then come back to it. And I'm doing some self reflecting lately. Some of my writing right now is about I talked about my brother, and I
Yeah.
think that him and I have just been very nostalgic, reflecting on a pretty cool life we've had, and where we came from as being raised by a single mom, and where we've come to in our lives, and so that's caused me to reflect and want to write about it a little bit. In a way that I'm not going to be dreary and cry about things, but more you can celebrate and what you've become and who you are. Um, and yeah, so I'm writing stuff like that. I won't give out titles right now because they can change.
Yes.
But I have a solid bunch of songs. So right now, Believe is out off my album Love Revolution. I think we're going to have another single, which is just going to be a single on its own, not part of this album. That'll probably be out after the first year, called La Di Da. That's with my Warrior Records. It's coming to come out as well, which is a fun song about if you've ever traveled to a tropical vacation with family or friends. I always laughingly say there's always that point where everybody goes, "Why can't we sell everything and just stay here?"
Yeah.
And I've been in that position so many times, and that I thought it was funny one day when I was sitting there around a fire on a beach, and everybody's like, "Let's just sell all our stuff and come be here forever." And I'm like, and so when I got home, I was thinking about it, and I wrote a song called "La Di Da," how we become these fancier versions of ourselves, and these really carefree, whimsical. Let's just be on permanent vacation, and so "La Di Da" is kind of a fun little thing about that, how you refine love with the woman you're with, or having that good time, and it's a good song. It'll be a single after the first year on Warrior Records, so
Yeah.
that'll be coming. And again in writing new stuff, and hopefully there'll be a new record. Uh, I'd love to do one again. We'll see what the label does with that, and I'm sure there will be some point next year. I don't know when it'll be released or when we'll record it, but
Well,
I'm an artist, so I'm always ready to go.
yeah.
I'm ready to do my part. I'm writing away. I got all the songs tucked away, ready to go.
Well, of course, as well, when it does get released, we can stay tuned to your social medias because you'll be plugging it, and Warrior Records as well, we're plugging it as well. So, check them out on social media. And where can people find you on social media? I know you're on the Facebook, the Instagram.
Yep, those are the primary ones. There's so many. There's X.
Yeah.
We're on X, which is and but Facebook and Instagram seem to be the two that I can keep up with. I try to do TikToks, but I'm not that clever. I'm not going to be a TikTok phenomenon, I don't think, unless I do something really ridiculous, and I don't know that I'm that ridiculous. Maybe.
Well, you never know. You never know. Never say never.
I can try. I don't know. It could happen.
Never say never.
I throw things on TikTok and now and again, and it's like interviewing yourself. I don't know. The people that are on TikTok, they're just pros, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, when do you guys come up with this stuff? I mean, talking to you is one thing. Coming up with some clever, I don't know what, that's going to make me TikTok famous. I don't know. But Instagram, the Instagram, of course, Al Perez Band. I say Al Perez Band because there is a couple of Al Perez's in the world. One was a famous wrestler from America.
Yes.
So if you Google me, you'll find Al Perez. And I'm not an ex-pro wrestler.
No, we should mention that. Yeah, I should mention at the beginning that this is not the pro wrestler. I have had some pro wrestlers on this channel, but of course, you're not one
I would
of
wear
them,
a mask.
but
I would do it. No, I'm joking. No, it's funny. People go like, why do I keep coming to this pro wrestler? I'm like, well, I don't know. So if people look me up on socials, the best way to do it is not just Al Perez, but if you just put Al Perez Band, put band in there, it's going to be more, it's going to put you in, find me on Facebook, find me on Instagram, find me on TikTok, and it'll get you away from finding that pro wrestler. Now I'm promoting the pro wrestler, but Al Perez, but anyway,
well, he's not relevant. I don't think so.
I don't think he's relevant anymore. But I laugh about it. There's actually in my town I live in, believe it or not, there is another Al Perez, and we met, and he comes to my shows, and it's a funny story, and I met him randomly because I owned a condo years ago, and he ended up buying it. And he said, what are the chances that Al Perez would buy Al Perez's condo? He didn't buy it for me. He bought it years later. But he was getting some of my mail, and he would get calls for people calling him for gigs.
Oh,
They're like, well, I want to book you for shows. And so he's getting all this stuff. And anyway, so he went out of his, and he's a lot older than I am. He's an older gentleman.
Yeah.
And he comes to my show one day, and he goes, I need to introduce myself. My name is Al Perez. And I'm like, are you being funny? And that's how I met him. And I shake his hand, and I said, that's awesome. I have to give you a concert shirt because I need to take a picture with Al Perez wearing an Al Perez shirt. This is kind of hilarious. And to this day, he's since retired, and he's moved to Arizona. But when he comes through town to see his family, he always still comes. I have Al Perez come to an Al Perez show. It's the craziest thing ever.
Awesome.
That
is a small world for sure. Like two Al Perez.
But the point is, when you're looking me up, look up Al Perez Band or look me up through Al Perez Warrior Records, and that'll direct you more specific to the music or to the medias that the music's available.
Yeah,
and or again, even all of them.
Or even when I was Googling yourself, when I was offered to have you on my show, I just put singer after when it came up with the wrestler, I thought, well, that can't be right. So I put singer just to make sure, in case you was a pro wrestler as well, even though I knew you weren't because I'd seen a picture of you beforehand.
Gosh, that would be so much more interesting if I had been a pro wrestler and a musician. That sounds kind of fun.
I don't know. I think imagine doing both. Imagine juggling both of them. I don't know.
Oh my lord! No, but Al Perez Band. That's the quickest way. Or Al Perez Warrior Records, which is my label.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can find me. Find me that way. You'll find me. There is so many, and everything you read about me is true. And all the bad stuff that I've done was probably me when I was younger. I just own it. I'm like, yeah, that was it. I did.
Yeah. We all learn from our mistakes. We all learn from our mistakes.
Did it. I tell my
Exactly.
friends if I ever get really super famous and you need to tell stories about me, I give you my permission. Go ahead. It's okay. I did it. I did
um,
it.
but let's go back to your music, Love Revolution. You mentioned about Believe being the first single of it. What's the reaction been from your fan base so far? Then have they enjoyed
It's
it?
Yes, it's probably the biggest single off the record from what I can tell. Now we call it getting all the numbers. I don't know. The numbers are rolling in. I sound so recordy, but no, it's doing really great.
Good.
It's had thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of downloads.
Yeah.
It's done really well, really quick. It's probably one of my better downloaded downloaded songs on the different medias. It's doing really well. People are really respond. I think people are enjoying this song, and it's great. Again, it was a very personal perspective of when I wrote it. Of course, I like the hook, I like the idea, I like the melody, music, but there were some personal things that I wrote into it. Again, I don't lie about it when people ask me, "Is that real?" I'm like, yeah, I write about things I live.
Yeah.
I can take a little bit of my truth and stretch it a whole long way
Mm.
when you're writing. But yeah, Believe is doing really, really well. It's getting received very well. It gets received very well live in the live shows. We've been performing a lot with it. It's doing really well, and I enjoy playing the song and singing it. So
Good.
it's one of those ones that I like them all because I write them all. But there's some that as artists we like to
More.
do more.
Yeah.
Like I could pick, a half a dozen tunes of my own that I go like, I like performing these tunes.
Well, of course, you've had record glowing ratings from around the world as well, haven't you? From here in
Oh
the
yeah.
UK to loads of other places in the world, and what does that mean to you? Like, yeah, your music is reaching not just people in America, but halfway
Well,
around the world as well. Did you ever expect that when you first began making
that's
music?
a great no. That's there are different feelings about music. I never thought that I'd have, thousands, hundreds of thousands of downloads and people listening to your music all the time and all these regular listeners on these because it tells you again there's always numbers you can look at and
Yeah.
see and it's pretty mind-boggling to be able to reach out around the world and different continents and different countries and people listening to you and you're like I never thought that would happen you
Mm.
know and I'll tell you that's the trade-off. People say, well, people aren't getting making as much money as you used to when you had it on the radio. Yeah, but you would never reach the kind of audience base that you're reaching without it being on the internet. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Very
People
true.
would never they would never get exposed to it. You could do well in America and never be seen once in the UK,
Yeah.
or anywhere else, or Aruba or some random island or wherever people are listening to you. Where they are now, you're getting that exposure because of these different social medias and music outlets that are available on the
Mm.
internet. And so I'm not just on in Vancouver, Washington, or Seattle or LA. I'm around the world
Yeah.
and I can see where people are listening to it because there's ways for of course the record labels to tell who's listening and where it's coming from and what the demographic is and
Yeah.
are they male, are they female, or what are the different artists. So it's a lot. There are a lot of things that we can look at, and so yeah, it's amazing to think that the music is being listened to around the world and that we're getting that kind of response. And it's awesome. There are people that reach out to me. Again, and social media makes you available
Yeah. That's very
to
true.
fan bases where you can just talk to people. You know, and so people just reach out and send me personal messages or message me on Facebook or Instagram or X or TikTok. I can see who is following me on my. Although again, don't be looking to be too thrilled on TikTok. I'll try to do something entertaining on it, but I'm not that funny. Um, yeah, so it's great. It's great. I never imagined that it would be like this. It's been an amazing year for music for me. It's been amazing to have my label pushing me and pushing me out there and getting me the opportunities and getting the music exposed. And
Yeah.
it's taken a lot of people, not just me writing the music, but but the label behind it and people like you that promote us in music. It's a big deal. It takes a lot of things to happen to have a successful or what a relatively successful music career. I'm happy with the success. Of course, I'd like to have millions and millions and millions of people following me. But you know what? I never imagined it would be what it is, and I'm humbled with the response, and I'm grateful for, you know, my label buying into it. People like you with your shows that put us on so other people can hear and see who I am and what the music is, and hopefully they come to a show when I roll through their towns or when I come to their states or that country, and I'll be there to perform. And again, we're looking to get back out after the first year and do more tours and more performances. And sorry, somebody was in the background.
Oh yes, I will up in there because I seen you like. So I thought I lost connection with you for a moment. I seen you do it.
Oh no,
no,
it's fine.
You're talking.
She's better looking than I am. I should have probably just brought her up. But anyway.
I have to say as well, because you know I thank you for the pleasure of having you on my show, even though it probably wasn't the best fortunes this evening, because usually it's much more professional than what's happened this evening with the start of this. But apologies for that. Hopefully, it's not changed your opinion of us Brits.
Oh, absolutely not. You know what? I think that things are, when they happen naturally, organically, you know, we can all make it all perfect into a little box, but you know what? That's not the cool stuff, by the way. You know, it's not the fun stuff. It's not the more natural stuff. You know, when we're talking more freely, you never know what the hell I say, other than I try not to say, you know, the F word too much. But you know, I don't mind. You know, I get interviewed a lot, and I talk to different radio stations, and so. This is nice. It's you know what, I again, I appreciate you taking the time to bring me on your show. It's cool of you. I look forward to meeting you when I come to Manchester.
Yes,
you know,
exactly. Yes, I hope
February,
that happens.
March.
Okay,
it's gonna happen. I'm gonna come.
It's gonna happen.
You know, I've got a couple things I got to do in January, but probably February, March. I'm hoping to come back over the pond or whatever you guys say. I'll get a flat, and I'm joking with you. I'm talking all like I'm from the UK. We had such a
you do a very good job.
You know what? I loved it. We had such a good time. You know, I'm a Mexican kid, a Mexican American, and I say this and I joke because what we jokingly said is that it's so far from where I grew up or where I ever thought I would be when I was there, that we had these shirts made that said a Mexican American in London, and it was kind of a play on the old American Werewolf in London kind of thing. And so our tour shirts, all of us that were in the show or were part of the group that went with me, all had these shirts that said a Mexican American in London, because we thought it was kind of funny. But I'm not sure anybody in London really got it, but all my family thought I was ridiculous. I said that's pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, because I hope in this show now, well, if any of those people who went to the show in London, for instance, watch this today, they will now understand the meaning behind that, because that's very like a full circle moment, you know, from doing, you know, from wearing that, you know, as a kid or whatever, growing up, and actually get to live it as well.
You know, growing up, what we call a Chicanos, you know, which is a first generation Mexican in America. My mother and father were both born in Mexico. I'm first generation, and then really being Americanized, and of course being in L.A. in L.A. As a young child and a young teenager. London seems like somewhere very far away. London to me was a pair of Doc Martens, and I was super cool in rock and roll for having a pair. But I knew if I could get to London, I could go there and buy me a pair. So it's weird, the things we have in our head. And then when you're standing there, you know what I had to do in London, right? I had to buy a pair of Doc Martens, even though I wear them and I can buy them here.
Yeah,
I had to buy a pair there because it was a thing of my teenage years of remembering, like, if I could be in London, man, I could wear cool Doc Martens. Like, I expected everybody to be wearing Doc Martens when I get to London. You know, it's hilarious. Not to say people weren't. I'm just saying. You know, it's a thing from our youth.
Exactly, and at least you got to experience that and see, you know, from you imagining what London would be like if you ever come over, to then actually get to experience that when you actually were here in person is probably something completely mind blowing, I guess, as well.
It was, you know what? Again, the old culture. That's the thing we
Yeah.
realize. Things have been there a long time, and we don't have that here like you do there. And the architecture and things were just it was very cool to be part of. I appreciate that kind of corny stuff, and so I really loved the old architect of things and buildings that were there. It was really pretty amazing to see, and I was again I loved it. I can tell you, and again, I'm not saying it because you're in it. I'm saying because
Yeah,
it's true.
I'm not paying him. I'm not paying him to keep plugging.
Yeah, you're not paying me to. I'm not. Go to London, everybody on vacation. It's awesome. It's amazing. The food's great. No, I'm just joking. No, I had that experience. For
Yeah.
me, it was. For me, it was a lot of fun. And again, I'm grateful to all the people that make it happen. From me writing the music to the musicians that play in the studio to the experience like with my brother and my family who supported me to the label like Warrior Records that Jim Irvin, who the executive producer of the
Yeah.
album, they get us the opportunities to meet with people like you. It gets us on the tour. I mean, there's just so many moving parts, and I'm just grateful, honestly. As I come into Thanksgiving and the end of the year for us, and um, I can sit back and go like, it's been a hell of a fun year in music. It's been a great experience. I've had some great. I've built and logged some awesome memories.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the main thing. And one last question for you this evening on my show is if there's anybody watching this show or listening to it thinking, how can I get to that next level from where I was maybe years ago? How can I get to that next level in music or in anything really?
Well, you know what? I really think it's this. I think it's is having a real, first of all, being artistic, taking your music seriously. If we're talking just specifically music, is
Yeah, yeah.
what you have to perfect your craft. Whether you're a writer, penciling it down, the lyrics, a vocalist, how we sing, really taking yourself seriously in the music. And I'm not saying you got to be all stuffy about it and be so mechanical, but there's to go to the next level, you have to work at it. It's like anything. Nobody throws a 100-mile-an-hour pitch without learning how to throw a 100-mile-an-hour pitch or having the natural talent, then being trained, then putting in the rehearsals or the practice. There's a lot of things you have to do, and you have to be consistent about it to do it, and enjoying it. Not to forget to enjoy yourself. Along the way. After all, we don't. If it's, I always like that old saying, if it's not any fun, why would you want to do it? It's a lot of fun, and you can do it at a professional level, put some real time into it, um, and hone your craft, and then go out and enjoy it and present it in that way. I think people are very responsive. I don't think I'm the greatest musician in the world. I think I'm a really solid person that understands music, that enjoys it, and then I can convey it as a performer. And I just think take it seriously, but have a good time doing it, and stay with it, stick with it. It takes time. It's taken me a lot longer than I thought it was going to get to this point where I am today with my music, but I never stopped dreaming it or believing it or enjoying it. Those things are all true for me. I love it. I love music, and I believe I can do it to the day I'm in the ground and on to the next world. But just be consistent, stick with it, enjoy what you're doing, and keep doing it. And you'll reap the benefits of it for sure. A lot of people just give up, or they don't put the real effort and time. And I think if you take it serious and you have a good time doing it also, and be consistent, you can make a career of it. I'm living proof.
Great advice from my guest Al there, and we could hear a bit of background noise in there. So if you do have to go, then that's absolutely fine.
You know what? Upstairs, the studio, I think there's a cleaning person up there. To be honest
Oh,
with you, I think she's vacuuming. That's who walked through when I was pointing, and I was like, "Oh, I don't know what she's doing here," but I think she's vacuuming the
got yeah.
upstairs.
I thought it
Studio.
was your wife who maybe walked in. Saying, hey, we need to
Oh
go
no, I'm
out.
single. I don't have a wife. So to all the, and I'm joking with you. No, I am single. I don't have a wife. I'm not married.
Fair enough, fair enough. But I
Just in
thought,
case people need to know.
yeah,
I'm joking
yeah.
with you. I'm joking with you completely. I am
but
single though. No
But
wife. No worry.
because I thought maybe it's your other half or it was your daughter maybe who popped in to
No, no,
say
my children are grown. I don't, no wife, no husband. You know what? It's just me, and So yeah, she was. It was a cleaning, and she went upstairs, and I
Ah,
think I heard her turn on the vacuum.
got
I was
you.
like, oh shit! I told her I was going to be doing this, but you know, yeah,
It's
she
all
decided
good.
she
It's
needed to
all good.
vacuum. I don't
It's
know.
all good. We will let her vacuum your studio in just a moment. But I want to know when it was announced that I was interested in having you on my show from your record company. Did you search me? Did you do anything? I'm just
I did.
curious.
I just went back and looked at a few of your shows. I did see some pro wrestlers. I seen some other people you interviewed,
Yes.
and yeah. So yes, of course. So yeah,
Great.
I went out and checked you out. I'm like, okay, who's this? And I don't get me wrong. I didn't over investigate or
No,
super
no,
stalk
no.
or anything. I mean, if you were somebody I was going on a date with, maybe I would have. No, I'm
Yeah.
joking with you, but I joke about it. People, there's so much information on the internet now.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, blah blah blah. They click 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 click. Oh,
Yeah.
I know where you went to school. I know where blah blah blah. I looked up your criminal record. I know you didn't pay your taxes. And no, I'm joking with you. No, they can know a lot. There's a lot of information. You really
Yeah.
can find. Look at I. I like the surprise of it all. I'm like, I did look at you a little bit, see what you did and who you were, but I didn't dig into it. Maybe you did with me because you were interviewing me, but
Well,
I like the organic part. Let's see what's gonna happen. I
yeah,
don't
and I hoped as well that
know.
whatever you did Google on me, I hope you enjoyed what you saw
Yeah, absolutely.
from the clips or videos you've seen from my channel from other interesting people from other musicians and even some because we had another person on from the same record company as who you're with a few weeks
Hmm.
ago. So that was a cool one, and of course some other great musicians and MMA fighters and whatever else. So glad you enjoyed what you saw, and I hope.
You know,
Go on.
oh, it's a pleasure speaking with you. You're interesting, and sometimes I get a lot of the same type of questions, and it
Well,
definitely was a pleasant conversation.
well, good because I try to be a bit different from what you because what I like to do on this show is because we're still live and this is what I like because one I like doing live things because again the unpredictable of live world whatever so in case something does go wrong it's great when it goes wrong because everyone gets a chuckle out of it like tonight for instance and
Oh
number
yeah.
two is I like to keep it off the cuff. I don't like watching other interviews of what you may have been interviewed by somebody else and think, oh, I'll ask that same question as well. I like to not watch anybody else's interviews and just try and think of stuff that I'm interested in what I want to know or what my viewers may want to know as well. So I try to keep it fresh, but not like an answering a question where you answer and I just move on to the next question. I like to have a good old conversation. So hopefully it comes across like that.
It's very refreshing. Honestly, I'm going to tell you something. We're live, so I'm not lying. I'm going to tell you off.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody asked me yesterday about because they knew I was doing this interview with you today, and they
Oh,
said,
right.
"Well, are you nervous? What do you think?" I said, "Well, honestly, typically they're going to ask me about 10 of the same questions." They go, "Really?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." I said, a lot of it's just I
Standardized.
don't know if they're just gonna what were your influences, who's your favorite thing, what are you listening to right now, blah 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 blah. There's a list of things that I
Yeah.
know, and you haven't done that almost at all.
All right.
So
That's
no,
good
but
to
no, it's
know.
nice because it's
Good to know.
refreshing because you talked about things behind me on the
Yeah.
wall. We just had some conversation, and it's a lot more enjoyable than going. Okay, I've got it locked and loaded. What are
Yeah.
my influences? What do I play? What was my age? When did I? Just
Mm.
there's canned stuff that a lot of interviews turn into, and so it's nice when it's just a conversation. So
Yeah.
it's been a really nice interview with you,
Well,
just having a discussion.
I'm glad. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll come back on my show again soon.
Absolutely.
Once you have more material and more news to share, and hopefully about coming back to good old the UK as well. And
I
I
would
should
love to.
say, because this probably be the last time we speak before Christmas, I hope you have a great Christmas in whatever you get up to over in the USA. And I
Well,
hope,
we do a lot of. I'm a big Christmas guy. I'm going to be corny. I'm going to say it live for your audience. I
yeah,
love the Hallmark Channel. I am a corny, old-fashioned Christmas guy. I love Christmas. My house. If you happen to interview me again, because there's
yeah,
something else happens between now and then before the holiday, my upstairs part is usually completely ridiculously decorated. I love being full Christmas mode. Every year I swear I'm going to write a Christmas song, although I haven't yet. But every year I swear I'm going to, and I just maybe next year.
Maybe next
And
year, yeah, or maybe even before this year, because there's still a few weeks before Christmas, so you still got time.
maybe I'm not saying I couldn't. But right now, with the other songs I have going, maybe not. But we'll try. We'll try, Nick. We'll swing back around next year this time, and
Okay.
hopefully, I have a new Christmas song.
Yes, yes. Let's see where we both are in a
I
year's
need
time,
I
right?
need my Mariah Carey song. That
Oh
song
yeah,
that everybody.
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
she's
All I want for
almost more
Christmas.
famous over her Christmas song,
Yeah.
and people making fun of it, and the memes and all the things that happen.
Mm.
It's pretty funny.
It's a bit like it's the same for Rick Astley and Right Said Fred with both of their big hits.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so you know what? I don't have any problem with it.
yeah,
I remember years back I wrote a song for the Millennium, just really quick, and it was, I wrote it the month before the 2000, before it was supposed to click over the
yeah.
Millennium,
I was
and
alive for that. Just well, I
and
don't know nothing about it, but I was around.
well, the whole world was bananas over it. And I'll tell you, I wrote a song for it because there were so many bad songs that were Millennium songs. I thought I
Okay.
could do better.
Yeah,
But anyway, I love writing things that are about certain periods.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
yes, next year. All right, I'm going to say it right live on your show. I'll have a Christmas song next year that I'll write.
There we go. You hear it first. Road exclusive
You're
right
here
here.
first. No pressure. No
No
pressure. I got
pressure.
a whole year to do it. A whole
And,
year to do it.
and I might even use that as my clip when I post this on
Oh my
social media.
goodness.
You never know. I might do. I might not, but I might do. You never know. Because there's a lot of good clips I could choose from this interview now for when I post it on my social media and I tag you in it. So I might use that one. You never know. You have watched
You
the
never
space.
know. Well,
You have watched the space.
thank you for having me on. And you know what? Again, I hope everybody goes and it's watching, goes and find. If they haven't heard the album, go find the album. Al Perez, Love Revolution, single, Believe. Um, Next year there'll be a single out called La Di Da. And again, thank you for having me on. It's a lot of fun.
No, absolutely, no problem at all. And if you enjoyed this episode of my show, then make sure to smash that like button. One person's already done that, so thank you for that one person, whoever you are. Make sure to share the video around. Tell them all about Al Perez. Tell them all about how a great singer and songwriter he is. And, he's been to the UK. Where else would you want to see Al performing? Maybe Canada, maybe Australia, maybe even rest of Europe. Let us know, where do you want to see Al go next on his world exclusive around the world? Hey, hopefully next year could happen for you. And leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought of my great interview with Al tonight. If you have any future questions for Al, because he will pop up here on my channel again very soon. And if you're new around here, make sure to smash that subscribe button. It takes 10 seconds or less to do, as we've got over 216 subscribers. However, over the weekend I did have 218 subscribers, but when I did announce on YouTube first who my next guests were going to be, I did lose the 2 subscribers. So a bit odd. I don't know why that happened, but if you're out there, resubscribe. For some reason you don't subscribe, so resubscribe if you're out there and get me to 218 subscribers. For some reason I get to 218, right, and then I don't post for a while, or I do post and I lose them both. So I can't get past 218.
Okay.
For some reason.
Well, I'm going to put it out there to all my fans. We're gonna take you up to over 220.
Okay, thank you.
I will make sure. I will put a push, and we'll start. I'll pay more attention and make sure I watch when you have all the interviews on. Besides me,
Well,
not just me. I don't want to watch myself.
I appreciate that, but I know your YouTube channel, you got like about 4,000 or something subscribers for your own YouTube channel. So you're doing great work over there.
Yeah, they're working on it. It's a lot. That, as you know, that's its own work within itself. That whole social keeping up with them. I'm trying to even get more organized with it because it seems like that's where all the traffic is these days.
Yeah, absolutely. You're 100% right. And we thank you for your time this evening. And I think it's afternoon for you now. Because when we began this, it was morning for you, but now it's afternoon. So we do appreciate your time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Thursday. And keep a lookout for a clip coming from me either tonight or it will be in the morning my time. So check it out when I post it.
Well, Mr. Edward Flower, thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a pleasant conversation for sure. And I'd love to come back again sometime.
Great. Look forward to that. And thank you to everyone who's watched this. And here is my outro in full now.